What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Burnout Brighter podcast. My name's Matt. I'll be your host for this evening's events. This will be episode 90. On this week's show, I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, Darren.
Hello!
And I am super stoked and absolutely excited to have one of the nicest people in gaming joining us today. His positivity and energy is something that I desire and, I want to work forward to. From the Trophy Room, co-founder of SixOneIndie, we have MrKStep himself, Kyle, joining us on the show today. Woo. Thank you for coming, Kyle.
Oh my God, Matt, that might have been the best intro I've ever received. Thank you so much. I feel so buffed up and powerful.
You should, man.
I'm really jealous.
Yeah, Darren, maybe one day I'll give you an intro like that. But Kyle, genuinely, your energy and your positivity and how unbelievably kind you always come across as someone who is you're just such a nice guy, and you come across so genuine. So I really appreciate what you do on the internet. So thank you for joining us. It means a lot.
I'm happy that that's coming across because that's what I aim to do. There's too much negativity out there and nastiness just in games in general, just outside of games, of course, always. So try to be that little bit of a bright light in dark times. That's what I aim for. So I'm happy that it's working.
It is. So for Kyle, for anyone who doesn't know who you are, give us the spiel. Where can people find you? What do you do? Who are you?
Sure, yeah. You can find me on Twitter at MrKStep. I podcast every single week about PlayStation with a friend that I met through the Kind of Funny community. It's called the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast, each and every week, the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation. And we also, I also co-founded a indie game site where we cover indie games because they truly are the best games out there, in and out. Without indie games, video games would be a whole lot more boring, in my opinion. So that's at SixOneIndie.com and SixOneIndie pretty much everywhere.
Perfect. And I have to say, Kyle, listening to the Trophy Room, Joseph just is like Jared Petty, 2.0. The vibes I was getting off of him just gave me a lot of Jared Petty. Everybody
with a little bit more chaos with Joe.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I feel like when you get Jared going on his indie game from 30 years ago, nobody's ever heard of. Once you get into that chaotic element, but everybody, please go check out Kyle everywhere. The Trophy Room is a fantastic podcast, and you were just on some Kind of Funny content.
Crazy.
P.S. I love you. How was that? That's so cool.
I still don't think it was real. I think I dreamt it. I think it's something that did not happen. I definitely didn't cry my eyes out the moment that show ended here in this very chair. It was absolute a dream come true. I hope it's not the last time I'm on one of their stuff. I just, ever since Greg was my Secret Santa, just randomly, luck of the draw, and him being gracious enough to have me guest on his baby and trust me enough to not screw it up means a whole lot. And I'm happy people dig it because I was very nervous because I know how I put in quotes relative no names member of the communities that have popped up on their shows. They always face that uphill climb, and I try not to cut off Greg Miller because you don't cut off Greg Miller on a podcast. You just don't do it. Same thing with Bless.
You were fantastic. The episode was a ton of fun to listen to. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please go check out Kyle on PS I Love You. Go check him out on all his stuff. But today's episode will be all about PlayStation at E3 or Summer Games Fest. Do we know what's happening? We're going to make some predictions to try and figure it out. Also for news, we're going to be talking about Twitch tags, Team Ninja making a Final Fantasy game, Zelda Amiibo bullshit, and a couple more, but that will be the show for today. But we are going to start, as we always do, with the round of random questions. Now, Kyle, for anyone who's uninformed, our show always starts off with a round of random questions. I put zero thought into these, for better or for worse, which means the questions that come out sometimes are great, sometimes are not, and then we ask our guests to do the same just because it's part of the fun. So, Kyle, if I wanted to ask you a random question that I had not prepared for, but now I'm going to talk for a couple seconds as I try and think about what I want to ask you.
This lead-in always tells the audience that, it's not a necessarily 50-50 shot of if we put thought into them. It skews one direction. I won't say which direction.
Okay, I got it. Okay, thank you, Darren. I figured it out. Kyle, I know from listening to the Trophy Room that you're, like Darren, very much a physical media kind of guy, right? You like to have...
We're going to get along just fine.
Yes.
I'm very much hashtag Team Joseph here with the digital media is the way to go now.
Okay.
But what I wanted to know is if you could pick any game out of existence that you don't have a physical copy of, which game would you want that physical or special edition of, and why?
Oh, we're gonna throw special editions out there? That's an easy one.
Let's do it.
Give me that Last of Us pandemic with the first statue of Joel and Ellie back in the day from PS3. That was one that I missed out on a pre-order of, and that's one that I kick myself every time I think about like collector's editions and whatever. I try to aim to get collector's editions of all Sony first-party stuff, just because I'm a huge PlayStation fan. And I mean, it's a huge bummer that Miles didn't get one, or even Demon Souls, even though I'm not a Souls player. So I'm hoping like Horizon Forbidden West we get one, but like from all the first party games, The Last of Us and that statue, that edition, I kick myself for not getting it because that statue alone now is like $500 like on eBay. It's like ridiculously expensive.
So then follow-up question, what is your favorite one that you have? If you had to pick one.
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, the God of War one's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's pretty... That statue's probably one of the best ones that Sony's put out. So I'm a big fan of that one. But I'm also a big fan of that Ghost of Tsushima mask.
Yes.
That I have behind me in those cases. It's really, really well done. Sony, for the last couple of years, have really knocked it out of the park with their collector's editions. Yeah, pretty much every single one has been fantastic. The only the one that wasn't as high is I wish the Spider-Man statue was a little bit bigger. It's very small. I thought it would have been maybe a little bit more grander in its presence, but like then you have Naughty Dog's Last of Us Part 2, and that collector's edition is like, my God, there's so much stuff in there.
Beautiful. That statue is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So then we have two fantastic answers. So now, Kyle, I will throw the ball to you now. And you could choose. Do you start with me or do you start with Darren? And what question that we did not prepare you for do you want to ask who and why?
Qualifying question. Does it have to be about video games?
No, it can be about anything.
Beautiful. Okay. Let's start with Matt.
All right.
Matt, if you were a shoe, what kind of shoe would you be?
Oh, crap. I never thought that I'd have another shoe-related question come at me after Darren's infamous shoe question, but if I were a shoe, damn it, I don't like how much you two are going to get along. I regret everything right now.
Well, honestly, before we started recording and you were like, yeah, we do random questions, the first one that popped in my head, I got asked this on an interview for an RA spot in college.
No way.
Really? Yes, I was like, ever since then, I was like, what a weird question. I answered it. I thought I gave an excellent answer, but I'll wait for yours before I say what I said.
Well, now it makes me even more nervous. If I were a shoe, you know what? I would be the Nike Air Jordans, the Chicago edition, just that clean white and red. I have been after that shoe for so long, and I'm not a big sneaker guy. But that shoe for me is like when I think of just like a good looking high top, it's always the Air Jordans, just the red and white with the black logo. It just looks so clean. And for me, I feel like that shoe just reaches out to me.
Way to be so confident about yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like
with the follow-up being any of the Nike PlayStation shoes, now I'm just checking the Nike website every day to see when those Paul George PS5 editions are going to come up and how impossible those are going to be to get.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Yeah, so it's funny you bring that up. My answer to the dorm director was a high top basketball shoe.
Nice,
because it provides support when you need it the most. I thought I was really on it. Didn't get the job. Did not get the position. But I'm very proud at pulling that out of nowhere when they asked me that. Cause, I was prepared for every other question. But what kind of shoe? I don't know.
A supportive one. That's a good answer though, and I feel like you better not have left in there a high top because come on, that's a great answer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think out of all the other shoes that they got answered with, I feel like that's probably the best shoe. If you're looking for a quality team member, I mean, come on, support is where it's at.
Yeah,
and
of
completely
course.
unbiased with my answer. Completely unbiased, but I think yours was the right one.
Sweet.
And now Darren's turn.
Darren, if you had to pick any old school cartoon from the 90s to get a live action version, which would it be?
Oh, okay. Oh man. That's tough. And I was just like yesterday watching, I don't know why I did this. I was really bored. I was watching like these YouTube videos that are like, guess that 90s cartoon theme song. And I was just like going through lists of cartoons. My answer might be a little unconventional. I'm going to go with Courage the Cowardly Dog. Because first of all,
okay.
I love Courage the Cowardly Dog. One of my favorite cartoons from when I was younger. Because I want to see what kind of horrific stuff they could get away with in live action. That show is traumatizing. And I want to see them go like full R, like gore, just like totally messed up. Just like they recently did like a Dora the Explorer live action film that was kind of like a joke.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was like
wasn't bad actually.
It was in on the joke and everything. So I'm thinking that, but like darker.
Yeah, so I also went with the darker there. I was like, give me a Ren and Stimpy in live action, or like Real Monsters. Like I want to see like actual real life versions of these cartoon monsters. Like,
get David Cronenberg to direct a live action Real Monsters. Just make it horrific as hell.
Yes.
Well, now that I'm deeply uncomfortable, before we move on to our next segment, Darren, good answer. And Kyle, thank you so much for asking us your random questions. And before we jump into what we've been up to lately, Kyle, whenever we have a new guest on the show, we always like to ask them about a game that matters to them. We always like to tie our conversations back into mental health if we can. And we're big, proponents of taking care of yourself and wellness. So what I want to ask you is, what is a game that matters to you? Be it one that got you through a dark time or a game that was there for you. What is a game that kind of brings those kinds of emotions out?
Yeah, so there's a couple that instantly come to mind, and I've spoken recently about Walking Dead Season 1, Telltale, and how much that game means to me. So I won't talk about that one here. I also speak volumes about Celeste and what that did with me, understanding anxiety and something that I didn't really know that I was going through, and just a simple in-game feather falling up and down and teaching me how to breathe. Like every time I get anxious, I think of that feather, and like eventually when I have money, I'm going to get that feather tattooed somewhere on me because that game means a whole lot to me. But at the end of last year, I played a game from Hello Games, The Last Campfire. The Last Campfire is a game that I think we saw in previews or whatever at like on E3 stage. I was like, oh, this looks cool. This looks like a cute little platformer. It's made from, I think, 3 or 4 devs of the Hello Games team that did No Man's Sky. And you are basically this, I'm forgetting what the name of the character is, but you're an Ember. And it's your job as an Ember to kind of find your way to your goal, and you don't know what your goal is. But as you're traversing this world, you come across these broken embers or lost embers, and they're like statues of themselves, or they're just really sad. And when you talk to them, they're like they lost a piece of themselves that makes them them. So it's a game about you finding that spark and that fire back for them and bringing them back and showing them that their life has a worth to it. And it tackles. It was definitely during a time where I was tackling with imposter syndrome like so heavily. And there's a couple different characters in there that are basically like, I should just give up. Like, no one loves me. No, like I'm worthless. I'm not good at what I do. Like. And having that and playing through that, it really helped me get through that. And there's like anxiety, depression. One is just like, I have no friends. I'm lonely. And, you find that Ember's fire and passion back. And they realize like it's okay to be lonely. Like that's fine. You don't have to like harp on it too much. So that game you can beat in like 5 or 6 hours, and it is jam packed with just tons of these messages of like your life is worth living. You have worth. The journey is part of life itself. So don't give up and keep going. And I remember finishing that game and just sobbing immediately afterwards. That was my indie game of the year last year. It's a super powerful game.
Wow, I remember hearing about that game coming out, but I didn't realize that it had such a profound effect. So thank you for putting that on my radar, because I'm definitely going to go check it out now.
Yeah. I think it also, like, because it's Hello Games and some of the dev team, I can imagine, like, they are actually using real life experience from what happened with, like, the No Man's Sky fiasco. Yeah, and you can 100% see it in this game. And that even makes it even more special. Like, that game deserves way more love than it gets.
Yeah, well, I know I'm going to check it out now.
Yeah, I only ever saw that advertised the one time on that Sony press conference, and I never heard about it again. So I'm happy that you brought this to my attention, because I've apparently been missing out on like a fantastic game this whole time.
Mm-hmm. Also, all you have to do is play, beat the game, and you get a platinum. So if you're into platinum trophies, it's an easy platinum on PlayStation.
Love it.
Well, then there you go, Kyle. Thank you so much for teaching us about the games that matter to you. And I have to do a big agree for Celeste. That game taught me a lot about dealing with my own anxiety and depression. So I'm glad that it resonated with you too. And now I have a new one to check out with The Last Campfire. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, then let's move on to what's new. Kyle, we're going to throw it to you again, because we love hearing our guests talk. What's new? What's been going on? What have you been playing lately? What have you been watching? Just we usually used to what's new as a bit of a snapshot to what's been going on.
I should be playing Mass Effect because I never played the first game, so I'm using this chance to finally play it, because I absolutely adore the second and third one. And I'm only like an hour and a half in. Like, if you listen to me on PS I Love You, I haven't played since that part yet. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is I'm stuck on MLB The Show. I can't not play that game. I love MLB The Show. That is a hidden gem, that IP, that series that San Diego Studios have in the PlayStation first party lineup. Those games are year in and year out are fantastic, and some of the best sports games ever made. So I have that itch to just keep playing and do my road to the show and try to break the whole single season home run records and whatever. So I've been playing a lot of that. Returnal, grinding for those collectibles still. I'm close. Nice. I got that last log finally in the first biome, so that crazy thing is done. So I'm just worried about getting some ciphers, and I have 2 more biomes to do, and then the platinum is mine.
How did you feel about Returnal?
I loved it.
Yeah, okay.
Very early on, I was like, oh man, I don't think I'm ever going to beat this game. But then they're just... What like a good roguelike does is it is hard at the beginning, but then when you learn the mechanics and learn what things you're supposed to pick up and help you and tailor it to your style of gameplay, it becomes a breeze.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about the game without spoilers, but like the second half of that game was such a breeze for me, because I knew exactly what weapon I use and look out for. Hollow Seeker, light machine gun. Anyone struggling? Get that gun. Leveled up, it has like a portal beam and serrated projectiles, which like eats away at the health bar over time.
That was exactly my gun, with the serrated projectiles and the portal beam and a couple other ones. And I kept that gun even at like a 15 power level until the last biome, because I was like, I'm not trading this gun away unless I get the exact same thing, just stronger.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was my game plan too. I absolutely love Returnal, and I love House Smart Games, so I'm happy that this seems to be another huge hit for them, and I hope that PlayStation, locks them up sooner rather than later, because that team deserves it.
Yeah.
And then the other game that I played and beat in one sitting is Aerial Knights Never Yields.
Nice,
I don't know if you guys know about that one. That was a game... It was unveiled at the last, I believe, the Nintendo Indies Direct that they had. And it really struck a chord, because the developer, as a black man in games, he basically said, this game is me making a spot in this industry that previously didn't have a spot for me. Like I'm making a mark myself and putting myself on the map. It's a runner, and all you have to do is use the directional buttons, or you can use the face buttons to avoid obstacles by jumping, sliding, sprinting through them, or doing like a parkour hop, like a little vault over lower ones. But the real standout, like gameplay is simple. It's not like super hard. It slows down before obstacles on default, and the hard modes get unlocked after you beat the levels and whatnot. But the best part of it is the soundtrack. It's like a Detroit hip hop artist, and it's very jazzy and hip hop blend. It is so good. It's fantastic. Easy platinum too, but like the platinum is currently bugged, so nobody has it. So I'm waiting on that patch. But yeah, well worth your time. 2 hours tops. I think I beat it all in. So it's a short experience, but the music alone and the art style is fantastic.
Yeah, I've had my eye on that game for a little while. I tried the demo on the Switch when it released a couple weeks ago, and again, the music is fantastic. The style that game carries is so cool. I meant to pick it up, and then I honestly just forgot that it came out because I've been busy with Mass Effect. But I'm glad that you liked it, and I'm glad it clicked with you. Nice, awesome, Darren. What about you? What's new?
Well, I actually did not play Final Fantasy this past week. So for like the first time, I think in like a month, I'm not going to bring up Final Fantasy 14 because a little known. I don't know if you have seen the show before, Kyle, but I just cannot get enough Final Fantasy 14. It's almost been a year since I started it, and I've been addicted ever since. It has been a while since I haven't played it. I've just been addicted to it ever since I started it. So what I have done is I have finally beat Disco Elysium for the very first time.
Finally,
the final cut version on I played on the base PS4, and honestly, I think that game was so good that it makes me hate video games a little bit, just a little bit, because it like I honestly think it's just so far above in terms of like writing what a lot of other games have strived to be. It's like I want. Like it's like raised the bar a bit for other games to meet. I cannot say anything but glowing things about it. The writing, the choices, the atmosphere, like the themes, absolutely phenomenal. Kyle, did you ever play Disco Elysium?
It's one of those that I put a little bit of time into, and it's such a dense game that it's one that I would love to experience because I had a great time. Like, shout out to the voice performances in that game. It's outstanding. I don't know how that game was a thing without him, honestly, before the final cut. Exactly. It's insane. It's crazy to me. But yeah, Disco Elysium is fantastic. I love that world that they built for it.
It's like, it's weird to me because like, yeah, I keep saying these good things about it. I do think in the middle of the game, it does like drag a little bit because of the density. It's like reading like a 1,000-page novel. Like it's just so intimidating to pick up sometimes after you like put it down for a bit. I had like moments where I'd not play it for like 4 days and then be like, oh crap, like I have to remember what I was doing. Like who was I talking to? Like, but it sticks the landing really well. So like I think it's worth going back to. And then other than that, Matt convinced me to finally download Knockout City.
Knockout.
Oh my god.
Oh, hell yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I really was put off by the trailer when they first announced it on the Nintendo Direct. I'm like, this looks dumb. I'm going to hate this.
I thought it looked like a joke of a game. So like I was blown away when I played it the other night, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, exactly. That was my response as well. I just was shocked at how much fun I was having. It's like really well designed and like everything you'd want in a dodgeball game is there. My only complaint is I find like the lock on so sticky that sometimes like if you got like a cage ball which traps people, sometimes I'd want to like turn around and throw them off the ledge, but like I'd be snapped to a target, so I couldn't like break away and then I'd get hit. But
Yeah.
that's like a minor complaint. Like, I don't know. I hope that this game gets a good following because it's just really fun.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and I had the same reaction that you guys did when I first saw the trailer. I was like, "Nah, this doesn't look like it's going to be very good." And Kyle, I buy into the hype very easily.
Yeah.
So when I saw people start tweeting about it, and they're like, "Knockout City is actually good," and I was like, "Okay." And I went and downloaded it, and I convinced Darren and 4 of our other friends to download it. So we had a 3v3 private match going, and it is a ton of fun. Have you jumped into it much?
We played on stream while on Saturday. We were raising money for the Palestine Children Relief Fund, and we played for about 2-3 hours. Took a break and hopped into Castle Crashers because I never played that game before.
Oh,
and within 30-45 minutes, we were like, you know what? Let's go back to Knockout City. Like that game was so much fun. Yeah, it's just. I immediately bought it after stream. Like they deserve the $20 or whatever because it is so good. Shocked at a studio that is known for making the Mario Kart live circuit toy.
And that's it.
Made this.
That's all.
That's it. I think that also was part of the reason why I was so hesitant about it. Like, how are they going to take that and make a multiplayer dodgeball game? And by all means, I'm so happy to admit that I'm wrong because I had so much fun.
It's addicting.
Yeah, big agree. And I love the noise when the dodgeball hits. It's so satisfying. That thwack. Yeah, the game is a lot of fun. I do find online playing just all with randoms can be very, very hit or miss because if you have a team that isn't very great, you just get steamrolled. Like there's no opportunity for you to kind of fight back.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I feel like any online game can suffer with that. But the game is a pleasant surprise. If you're curious about it, there is a free trial going on across pretty much all platforms, and there is full crossplay. So if you're curious about it, you have until the end of May to go give it a whirl. Go check out Knockout City because that game is surprisingly great.
And other than that, Matt, what else have you been up to?
I've actually, Kyle, similarly, I've never played Mass Effect, period.
Sweet.
So I'm actually working my way through one right now. I'm about 18 hours in, I want to say, and I am pleasantly surprised with how much I'm liking it. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but the game's writing is fantastic, and I wasn't expecting it to be at that level, given that it's an older game. I kind of went in with my expectations a little lower, and there are some gameplay mechanics and there are some things that don't hold up as well, but the writing is spectacular. The characters feel fully fleshed out, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I'm very curious to see how it ends because I've heard great things about the ending along with the starting of 2. So I'm excited to finish 1 and get into 2 and 3. But I'm enjoying it. I think that the changes that they made in the remaster, from what I understand, with the shooting and the way that the Mako controls, everything feels great. The shots feel good. The guns feel great. I'm having a good time with it. And even some of the choices and stuff, I've heard a lot about do a lot of the side quests in 1 because they matter a lot in 2 and 3. So I'm very curious to see how my decisions will impact what will happen later on. I know you quickly mentioned earlier, but are you a big fan of Mass Effect 2 and 3?
I love Mass Effect 2 and 3, yeah. Since I'm mostly a PlayStation person, I never owned an Xbox until Xbox One X a couple years ago, and then I quickly traded that in to help pay for my PS5. So I never got to play the first one when it came out, or even since that point. I bought the trilogy on PS3, just so when 3 came out, I think it was a bundle along with 3, and I still only played 2 and 3 because I think I maybe popped it in for a second. I was like, oh man, this is. Everything is just made better in 2. And me playing through 1 in my short time, just laughing at how bad the inventory system is in 1. Oh my god, it's so bad. But then you get you see Saren and instantly hate this person, and they do such a great job with setting up this big villain so quickly. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in. I want to see what happens. But I'm also let's get to 2, Kyle, because I want to re-experience 2 as soon as possible.
Nice. Yeah, the inventory system is hot garbage. I hit 300 weapons or 300 items in my inventory, and the thing that frustrated me the most is I had all these things marked as junk. I couldn't actually turn any of them into Omnigels. I could only turn in the new stuff that I was getting in that it wouldn't let me put in my inventory into Omnigels. And it's just like, why can't I convert my old stuff if this is a factor that already works? If you make me convert the new stuff, why not let me do it with my old stuff? So I'm not just getting rid of all these new things I'm collecting. But
yeah,
outside of a couple of things there that I think just gameplay wise, you know, I'm sure they make better in 2 and 3.
not to mention hitting L3 is crouch and not sprint.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, that game needs. I think they did a sufficient amount to make it good now, because even then, despite these issues, I am having fun with it. But guys, we're here today because we are coming up on one of the most exciting seasons in gaming every year. We got E3 coming up, and we got Summer Games Fest coming up. 2 of the biggest deals in gaming, where we're going to have lots of game announcements. We're going to have a lot of news coming at us hard and fast. And because Kyle has joined us today, and, you know, coming from such a lovely PlayStation gamer, we decided to do a PlayStation predictions episode. Now, we do know that at this point in time, there has been no official conference announced. We do know, though, they're not actually part of E3. But we do know that to some extent they are part of Summer Games Fest, as their logo is included as part of like their announcement thing. So, guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to go around. We're going to go 3 predictions each, and then we're going to, depending on time, either have 1 or 2 completely outlandish predictions, and then we'll come back to this a couple months from now once June is over. We'll give the end of June as our kind of end date and see how we tallied up and see how we scored, and we'll take it from there. But before we even get into the predictions, what I want to first ask you guys, and what I want your opinion on, is because something I haven't been able to land on. Do you think if PlayStation has a state of play, do you think they're going to do it the week before, the week during, or the week after? Because I can see every angle here, and I don't know where to land. Kyle, when do you think PlayStation makes a move, if they do?
I think it's going to be after the Xbox mega show that is Xbox Bethesda combined. I think you don't want to go ahead of that, just because like I think that show is going to be super long. There's going to be a lot of announcements, and it might just get lost in the shuffle there. So I do think they'll wait until after that point. I'm just not sure how long they wait, whether it's a week or 2 weeks, but I do expect them to do something big. Like I know they are part of the Summer Game Fest, but they might just like show off one game and be like, hey, more to come on this date. I do think we'll get the date whenever that one thing is shown off. But definitely after the big mega Xbox and Bethesda show for sure.
Darren, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil my predictions yet, because this is part of one of my predictions.
Okay.
But I agree with you, Kyle. I think historically Sony's always liked to be the one to have the final say at something. They like to show off by one-upping Microsoft. Always, they did it, you know, with the used games fiasco when Xbox One was first announced. They like to do it with, you know, the PS5 showing off their. Well, actually, they did go after Microsoft, right, when they were talking about the specs of the PS5. I think Microsoft announced it first, or did?
I believe they did
first.
I think Xbox was first. Correct.
Anyways,
me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
they're gonna want to show them up, so they're gonna wait till after. But I'll for more specifics, I'll wait till we get to the actual predictions.
All right, yeah, because I'm completely split. I completely understand both of your arguments. I think last is what's likely. I just think it depends on how bullish they're feeling about what they have unannounced. You know, with was it Jim Ryan a couple of weeks ago talking about the 25 first party games in development? Like, I think if they're feeling ready, they might come out swinging before anything even happens, and then kind of left everybody else in the shadow. But I think you guys are probably on point with saying that they'll be after. So then let's get into these predictions. Darren, I'm going to throw to you first for your first prediction, and then we'll go to Kyle, and then we'll come back to myself in a kind of roundtable prediction off. Darren, start us off. And again, remember, your predictions can be broken down into parts for those split points.
Okay.
What do you have for us?
And I would also like to start by just saying, for longtime listeners who might remember the last time we did a predictions episode about Summer Games Fest, we had stakes involved that we have not really finished yet. I promise you it's coming. We know what happened.
Yes.
We will settle things now that Matt is back in Canada land. So that's coming. Also, I want to warn Kyle. I'm going to warn you in advance. I'm very sorry. You're such a happy man. You're so positive, and Matt, you love hype so much. I am not really that happy of a man. Matt has dubbed me lovingly the hype hole where hype goes to die. So my predictions might seem a little pessimistic at times. Apologies in advance. That's why you have you two to raise me up. Okay. So my first prediction is actually that Sony's State of Play will not actually be part of Summer Games Fest at all. Now, I know that this prediction is actually the same prediction that I made last year, and I lost this bet. It was part of Summer Games Fest. But this time, Jeff Keighley's actually made it a note to like go out and say, keep your hype in check. I think the understanding is Sony will probably just show off some games at Summer Games Fest, but they'll wait till August to do their State of Play like they did last year. They had a State of Play in August. They don't have a new console to show off, so I think it'll just be a couple games. And so part of that waiting is that, that's my first prediction. It's going to be in August. They're going to show off a couple games, but mostly it will be pretty disappointing to anybody who thinks that it's going to be a big thing in the middle of the summer.
All right.
I can see why he has that nickname now, Matt.
Thank you. Yeah, the hype hole. Last year we had a big disagreement about whether they were part of Summer Games Fest or not. I ended up winning that argument. But I'm curious, Darren, because now, just like last time, you put an extended timer onto this, adding in August as a State of Play, you bastard. So now we have to wait all the way until the end of August to score this, but I'll allow it this time. I'm curious, Darren, whether you're right or if you're wrong.
They're going to show up. They're going to show up. They're just not going to have like a State of Play until the end of the summer. But they'll show some games.
What do you think? What do you think, Kyle?
I don't disagree that there'll be a State of Play in August, but I do think they're going to have an event that's not a State of Play. Kind of like what they did last year, showing off all the PS5 stuff. That was not a State of Play. That was just a
PlayStation conference.
PlayStation,
right?
Future of games.
PlayStation Showcase or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think you might be right with the State of Play being in August, but I think the PlayStation Showcase or Future of Games, whatever, out for PlayStation will still be within that window at some point.
Damn it, I didn't consider the semantics of the naming of State of Play. That's a very good point. Crap. All right. Well, we'll see, Darren. Kyle, what's your first prediction?
It actually ties with Darren's a little bit.
Okay.
And why we are getting that showcase during State of Play, because Horizon Forbidden West is finally going to get a date, and it's going to be November 12th, 2021.
Wow.
I put an actual date on. I was going to say September. But then I saw that Deathloop got pushed back to September.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I think that's too close to do like another giant game for PlayStation during the same month. So I'll give it a few months, right in time for the holiday season, get the new big, massive PlayStation IP out there in November 12th.
I like that a lot. I'm a big fan of dating things with these predictions, so I'm so glad you threw an actual date on there.
Yeah.
I think you're probably spot on there. Honestly, that feels like a November game. And we haven't really seen too much about it.
Yeah.
So then I'm going to jump off of that prediction because I also have a Horizon themed one. So I'll lead with that one then. And what I'll say is that Horizon 2, similar to Spider-Man, like you said, I think there'll be the whole gameplay reveal. I think we're going to see a lot of it. We'll get a date. What the things I'll add on to there is I think it's going to have a remastered, up-resed version of Horizon Zero Dawn. that game is curiously missing. I know we just got it part of the what's it called? Days of Play, not the Days of Play.
Play at Home initiative.
Play at Home. Thank you. I know we just got it there, but it was curiously absent from the PlayStation Plus collection, and I think we might see, similar to Spider-Man, they might kind of bundle in that first game with a bit up-res, looking a little bit better. The other thing that I think is going to be there, and you know what, I'll say it comes out the same day. I also think that those rumors of a VR version of Horizon might also be kind of bundled in that with the expanded edition. So I'm thinking like we're going to get a Horizon Zero 2 Forbidden West with an up-res Horizon Zero 1 and like a VR mode attached to that for an extra $20 or $30. I think that that's a good way to get people in on the game. If somebody, for whatever reason, missed the first one, or for the VR players, I think the VR one will also be sold separately, but you'll be able to get it at like a deluxe edition, bundling those all together. I don't know if they're going to go that far, but I think that those rumors of that VR edition are true, and I feel like we'll probably see it either to the lead up or alongside Horizon 2. What do you guys think?
Wow,
I like it.
I didn't know there was
a lot in there. That's a lot of Horizon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if PlayStation will go that far. I'd love for that to be the case, but I think with kind of, you know, I don't think they'll offer it for free, but I think if they add a $20 or $30 price tag similar to what they did with Miles Morales, including the first Spider-Man, I think it's possible.
I actually did not know about a VR rumor.
Yeah, there's rumors that SIE London is doing it. That they are, because after they did Blood and Truth, we haven't seen anything from them in quite a while. And the current rumors, again, there's no actual, you know, confirmation of this by any stretch, is that they're working on making Horizon 1 fully VR.
Interesting.
Now,
okay. So I looked it up just to learn a little bit about it, and apparently, who is this person? Callum Hurley, who's an industry veteran. He tweeted out in October 2019, was recently made aware of a very exciting new PlayStation VR game coming out of London studio. Not sure whether it'll be for PS4, PS5, or both, but it's really exciting, and an announcement could be on the horizon, and Horizon was capitalized.
Yeah. The only thing that I'm not sure of here is that whether they're going to wait for it and drop it along PSVR 2, because I just don't know if the PS4 will handle it, and Horizon 2 being seemingly cross-generational, I don't know if they're going to go with it, but that's my prediction. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to hope.
If that was going to happen, I would see it being a PSVR 2 title, just because Sony previously did say they had no other PS4 VR games in the pipeline. There was I remember them making a press release about that. They said there's nothing PS4 VR coming from us. And I think with the new controls, that would be actually a pretty good title. Although I feel so bad if whoever tweeted that out just made a mistake and accidentally capitalized the Asian Horizon, and they just like set the internet on fire.
Yeah,
God,
because that happens all the time to me. Like I'll tweet out like a normal version of the word, and it's like a name of a game, and it auto corrects it to the capitalized version. I'm like, no, that's not what I mean.
No, damn it. Good old autocorrect. All right, Darren, hit us with your second prediction.
Okay. This is interesting because I have both a Horizon prediction and a VR prediction. Which one do you want first? And I'll wait.
Keep the Horizon train going.
Okay.
Keep the Horizon train going.
Y'all are gonna hate me so much. I think I'm just trying to incite the internet to hate us. I think that's all I'm trying to do.
Good. Yeah, that's good.
Hey, you know, bad publicity is still publicity, right? I don't even know where this is necessarily coming from, and I apologize. I just have this feeling, okay?
Okay.
There's going to be 2 games that are going to get delayed. One of them is Horizon Forbidden West, and the other is Ghostwire Tokyo. Both of those games are going to get delayed till early 2022 because of COVID because the Netherlands has still been hit pretty hard with COVID, and Japan as well, and that's caused a lot of delays. And just because all we saw from Horizon was a cinematic trailer last year, and we haven't really heard a lot about it since, it made me suspicious that they just haven't been able to get it. I don't think it would be a big delay, but I think it would be like a end of the financial quarter, early 2022. But I think it's going to get delayed. But before everyone just, gets mad because I'm so pessimistic, I will make this up in a later prediction, okay? Because you might be thinking, what are they going to do for November? What are they going to do for November if they don't have Horizon? I thought about that too. So I'll give that as a teaser.
I don't know. We got some news recently that, not news, but lack thereof, that God of War is probably not coming out this year. But I don't know.
I don't think it was ever planned to come out this year. Yeah.
I think Jim Ryan did say that Horizon's still on track, but I mean, anything could happen between now and launch, right? Interesting. Interesting. I would really hate a world where the Switch Pro is real, and alongside those rumors of Breath of the Wild 2 coming out March of next year, I really don't want a Horizon versus Zelda battle again.
Because,
please, no!
Because Breath of the Wild kind of broke Horizon for me when I started playing it. I kept trying to climb everything and I couldn't. And it frustrated me. I really just don't want those two games to come out alongside each other again.
Yeah, I don't want to have to defend Horizon again against a Zelda game.
Yeah. It's not fair.
Not that.
They're both great games, okay? They can both coexist.
Yeah. Yes. Just I really hope we don't see them at the same time again, because they were literally within a couple days of each other, if not the same day. All right, Darren. We'll see. We'll see about these delays.
Yeah. And also, Kyle,
what about you?
Sorry, I just want to say, Kyle, I appreciate you.
Go.
I can see how hard you're holding back trying to say, like, God damn it, those predictions are so dumb.
No, they're fantastic. No, I'm just looking down at my predictions and like reworking them and trying to like, I don't know. Because like I before this, Matt was like, I have like 3 realistic ones and 2 like out of the ballpark.
Crazy
I think
ones.
all mine are like out of the ballpark, like super hyped ones. So I'm trying to bring them down to earth a little bit. So my second one I have is, I think Capcom is going to be there in some form or fashion. The Capcom and PlayStation thing during the summer E3 time is pretty strong. You have RE7, you have RE2 Remake, you have Village.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that continues, but where I'm battling between 2, and it is Resident Evil's still like the 25th anniversary of the franchise. And I think maybe, I'm going to go with this one. I think RE4 Remake is going to be shown off during PlayStation's E3 show. There's that RE4 VR thing for Oculus that they're doing that what they kind of threw in there. Really weird, because I was watching that RE showcase on the PlayStation Twitch channel, and that wasn't even a part of it. Like really? They didn't even have it on the show. I found out afterwards while Joe and I were off, like, oh, this was announced. It was apparently it was on every other showcase besides the PlayStation official channel.
Wow, I did
just
not
because
know
it was an Oculus thing.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I think RE4, a proper RE4 remake is going to be hinted at. Don't know if it's going to be like a January release or something, but I think Resident Evil will be there in some way, shape, or form.
So what do you want? What do you guys want? So I know you're like Darren. I know you're a big Resident Evil fan. Kyle, are you also a big Resident Evil guy?
I was not until this year, and because of the Trophy Room, we do this Patreon show, Road to Greatness, where the community votes on what games we play, and then assign it a trophy level, whether it's worth it or not. And they voted on Resident Evil 4, and I was so against it because, like, I thought I'm a big scaredy cat, a big baby when it comes to horror games. I don't like playing them. Also, like, we know Resident Evil 4 is great, so why vote on it? Like, relax. Yeah. But I played it and was not scared at all during it, but I had a great time. It was, like, dumb, fun, action-y. So because of that, I then played RE7. like immediately afterwards to get the hype for
Nice.
Village. I played Village and beat it within 9 hours. Had a good time with that. I'm playing through RE2 Remake now on stream. So
nice.
I'm falling in love with Resident Evil in the year 2021, which is wild. So, but I would love to see 4 remade with great visuals and be able to control it like RE2 Remake. I think would be the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that game would be so good.
Yeah, and like I feel like it kind of goes along with the remake schedule that they've had. They usually go like every other year. Darren, when do you think we see a date? I'm not asking you to add it to your predictions, but what do you think, Darren? When do you think that game will actually come out?
When is the Oculus one supposed to come out? Is that next year?
It's a good question.
Let me check.
Because I don't think they'll release them too close together because they don't want to overlap on sales. Although the market for Oculus is probably not going to cut that far into, the sales.
It says the 2021 release window for the Oculus VR, so sometime this year.
Well, if that's the case, I could see, I'd probably think fall 2022 for RE Remake.
Okay.
Just because they'll probably going to do some DLC for Village that comes out like summer of next year, so that like they don't want to overlap those things. They did 2 DLC packs for RE7, so I think some DLC packs for 8's probable. So yeah, just to not overlap that, I could see fall 2022.
Yeah,
nice.
I was going back and forth between RE4 Remake and that Pragmata game that was shown.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything about that since last year.
That's supposed to come out next year. That's a Capcom thing, so I don't know. Capcom will be there, but I do think it's in Resident Evil form.
Yeah, especially with the hype coming off of 8. Yeah, with the hype coming off of 8, why not keep the train going?
Absolutely.
All right, for my second prediction, and I'm gonna move on this one, even though I'm not completely sold on it, but I kind of want to get ahead of Darren here in case he's kind of in the same wheelhouse for his November prediction here. I think Kyle is right. I think we're going to see Horizon 2 in November. So, what I think they're going to do to cap off the year, because I feel like they're kind of want to go out swinging. I think that The Last of Us remake rumors are real. I think that's going to come out December 3rd. I think they're going to slot that right at the end of the year. It's a remake. We've coming off of The Last of Us 2. Last of Us 1 is still, in the popular culture, especially with the show leading up. I think the show is supposed to come out sometime next year. I think we're going to see it at the very end of this year. And they'll put it a little bit later because it is a remake. I also think that The Last of Us 2 multiplayer will come out alongside it. I think you'll get The Last of Us 2 multiplayer, whether I don't know if they're going to make it fully standalone or not. I think it's going to be one of those things where if you have The Last of Us Part 2, you get access to it, or if you buy the remake of the first one, you'll also have access to it to kind of give people a bit of an expanded player base. So I think we're going to see that December 3rd. I think the remake is real. I think we'll see it in June, coming out later this year. And I also think that kind of in the event that something gets pushed or something gets delayed, they still go out this year with a bang. The Last of Us and Game Awards. Game Awards is also December. They're kind of synonymous, and they kind of go hand in hand together, given how it was rolled out before. But I think that's how they're going to do it. I think they're going to bundle in The Last of Us 2 multiplayer in, and I think that's how we're going to get it.
Yeah, I also had a factions reveal on my list here.
Nice.
Don't know if it's a standalone or not, but I do think that Naughty Dog was saying something along the lines of, while they were developing it for Part 2, it became too big, so it's its own full standalone thing. So I could imagine like a Lost Legacy big multiplayer game of Factions, because Factions is rad. I'm not a multiplayer person, but that sucked me in when I was going for the Platinum last year and had so much fun just playing Factions and nonstop. So I would so be down to see whatever Factions 2.0 is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be exciting.
And Matt,
I think that's go ahead, Darren.
I think you're onto something with the it being bundled or related to the remake in some way. I don't know if it's going to be you get the remake and you get factions, or if you get factions and you get the remake. I think that's a pretty solid prediction to think that they're going to be connected as some kind of bundle.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of what Capcom did with, was it Resident Evil 3 remake, where you got that multiplayer
Resistance.
version,
Yeah.
right? They kind of knew that, like, it was a remake, but they added in that multiplayer. I think they're going to go take a similar route. But that is my second prediction. Darren, why don't you hit us with your last normal prediction?
So my last normal prediction was also super depressing, so I totally changed it. And, I'm going to be I'm going to be a little bit more positive, and like I like how we're all kind of on the same wavelength. So I took more pieces from like what you're giving out, and I came up with one new prediction, more positive.
Okay.
I don't know if this is pie in the sky, but I think that they will show off the PSVR 2 headset. I think they will show it off. I think we'll finally get a look at what it's going to look like. And one of the like, I forgot the word for when something's right at the start of something else. Anyways, one of the first games to come out
opener?
with. Yeah, whatever. Not the show opener,
launch window.
The like launch title game with it.
There you go.
Will be Resident Evil 8 Village VR version, just like they did with Resident Evil 7.
Oh no!
PSVR 2 will come with Village, because they still did first person. It still seems very VR compatible. I think it was successful enough that they'd be like, all right, I don't know if they're going to charge separately for it this time, or if it'll be a free upgrade, but I think it will launch together.
Interesting. Are you a big VR guy, Kyle?
Yeah, I love my PSVR. I have an Oculus Quest 2 as well. Little bummed that I haven't played PSVR in a very long time, which is a bummer, but I am very excited for this new one, just from the single cord thing alone. Granted, I would love for it to be wireless, but anything's better than that thick cord that really just, I'm afraid of tripping over and breaking this couple $100 machine that I can't afford to replace. So yeah, I'm super excited for PSVR 2, and that is a huge question when it comes to PlayStation this year, because the dev kits have gone out, they're talking about it a whole lot. I could have sworn that would be another 2 years away, but the more I hear about it, the more it feels farther along than I think. So I would love to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something, Darren. The only thing that makes me nervous is so far the way that they've been handling out the VR information, they just keep to drop it on a random Wednesday morning. They're like, by the way, these are what the controllers look like. So I don't know if we're going to see it during E3, but I hope. Kyle, you said you finished RE8. How do you think that game would lend itself to VR in comparison to 7?
So, actually, when I was playing 7, because I will never play Resident Evil in VR. No way. Not happening.
I tried.
I tried the kitchen demo, and I could not handle it. My eyes were closed the entire time. I think 8 would do very well, but as I was playing 7, I could notice that the game, it ran fine on its own, but the textures and stuff were not as great as they could be because they had to be handled in the VR space.
Right.
8 is so visually stunning that if the PSVR 2 can handle the textures and the way that world looks, that is going to be one beefy and powerful VR helmet. I'd be super impressed if they could handle RE8 in VR and have it look as great as it does now.
Yeah.
That would be such a huge selling point for VR people, for sure, if it looks that great. I don't know if it's up to that quality though, because you got to make sure it's also a what's the word I'm looking for? Affordable headset.
Exactly.
It can't be over $500. I don't think it's got to be below that.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Nice. Well, thanks, Darren. Those are your 3 normal predictions. Kyle, can I get your last regular prediction?
Sure. So Blue Point Games gave us
this already.
Demon's Souls last year as a launch window for PS5. Before that summer, they were tweeting out, and they had a tweet where references were 10 different franchises that haunts me to this day, because every single one that they talked about, I was like, yes, I'll take it. But I think they're going to show off their other one because I think they were working on 2 separate games, and it still kind of leads into the other games that they've worked on being like a Sony Japan game that they've helped bring back from the dead, and that's why they're going to remake a beloved PS1 RPG that needs to come see the light of day. Legend of Dragoon remake is going to be Blue Point Games. They're remaking it. It's real. It's happening, and everyone can experience that game in all its glory because that game had so many good ideas back in the day, and it's a shame that it just got thrown away and never really talked about or revived in any way, shape, or form because that game is great.
I really hope you're right. I have only ever heard good things about that game. I've never actually played it, and I'm a huge RPG guy myself, especially with JRPGs. So I would love any JRPG to get that Blue Point treatment because I'm not a Souls guy, but I played Demon Souls because it was on PS5 and it's one of Darren's favorite games. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. And, putting my head through the wall for a couple months, I finally did manage to beat it. But I really hope you're right because a nice JRPG, given that Blue Point treatment, I think would look incredible. I really hope you're right.
I just can't wait to see your final crazy prediction because I'm already loving everything that I'm hearing. I just want to know, okay, what's your showstopper?
I don't know. I honestly probably could have held that one back and did one of my other ones but I'm actually writing another one down now that I just thought of that I hope comes back.
I love it. All right. For my last normal one, I'm kind of in between a couple here, but do I want to take Darren's pessimistic route or not? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
I'm a bad influence.
Because I feel like that goes against everything in my nature. But no, I'm not going to do it. I think what they'll do is I think they're going to blow out the PlayStation Plus collection. I think they're going to add a bunch of games to it. Like I wrote down 20. I'll stick with that. I think we're going to see 20 new games added to that service. I think it will stay on PlayStation 5 as kind of like a value op for people who are buying to that console, especially with we don't see too many PS5 exclusives just yet. They're working on it. There's obviously a lot more coming, but I think we might see a bunch of games added. Again, it'll be a mix of first party and third party. I think we'll see anything up to and including Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think they'll go anything newer than that, but I kind of see them kind of using it as here are all the major exclusives you may have missed for PS4. I think they might do that, and again, leave it on PlayStation 5, so PS4 Plus members wouldn't have access to it. But I think that's what they might do, and that's my hopeful prediction, and that's the one I'm going to stick with because my more pessimistic option, which I'm not going to use as a production, but I just want to vocalize, was that they're just going to make that PlayStation Plus video service that they're doing in Poland, which has 10 movies and 5 shows. I think realistically that's probably what they're going to do, but I think there's a world with how much of the gaming space is constantly talking about Game Pass and how much people are looking for PlayStation's alternative. I think this might be the beginning of what they might start doing on PS5. So I think we'll see anything up to and including Ghost of Tsushima added, along with some third-party stuff in the veins similar to Persona 5 or Monster Hunter World. I think we'll see them add to that. Damn, that is my last prediction.
Question.
Yes.
Will they be able to get the PS5 enhancement upgrades to these?
I think so, because currently, can you not play God of War? Because God of War is part of that collection. Don't they have the DualSense capabilities?
I haven't tested it out yet. I'm not sure, but the reason why I ask is because FF7 Remake, it was on PS Plus, but you won't be able to get the PS5 upgrade with it still. Yeah. It's very backwards. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a very Square Enix thing. I see that more. I see that more coming from their decision than it is from Sony's. And it does seem that God of War and Last of Us Part 2 actually both have DualSense capabilities added. So I don't know if they're going to go as far as to make all of them completely PS5 friendly, but I think we might see a couple of them. For example, I could see Ghost of Tsushima, if they don't have it already, having those kinds of having that kind of work done to it.
Sure.
But I wonder if they're going to do it, because I think they need to do something. Whether they will or if they won't, we'll find out. All right, Darren. we're running a little long here before we hit the news, so why don't we each do one pie in the sky, completely out there prediction. Darren, give me your, as we've titled, Aaron's Dumb Predictions, named after our friend who once predicted the Crash remasters after Darren was adamant we would say new Crash. Our good friend Aaron said, no, you'll just see old Crash, and he gave us no information other than that, and he was right. So can you give us your one ADP, your Aaron's Dumb Prediction?
Well, as I alluded to before, when I was like, well, Horizon Forbidden West is going to get delayed, what's Sony going to do for November? That's because Sony's big November holiday title has not been announced yet. It's going to be announced in the summer and come out in November. It's going to be a brand new PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, and it will be...
Oh my god.
And
yes!
it will be an
I hope you're right.
it will be an actual Battle Royale game this time.
Oh my...
Oh, wow.
Why? You started off so well.
It's in the name, Matt. It's in the name. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. We got to have a Battle Royale game.
So them like lending Aloy and Kratos to Fortnite was just testing the waters to see if that's gonna work.
Exactly.
Is it a shooter?
Yes, but it's not gonna be.
Oh
shooter.
no, Darren! Why?
It's gonna be like sort of a shooter. It's gonna be like the same way I would call like Knockout City a shooter. Like some people will attack with like different power-ups and weapons from Sony's history, but they'll all have like a hero power a la Apex related to their character.
Oh, wow.
God, I hate this so much. You started off so strong, Darren. You had me with All-Stars 2. I love the first one. I think it deserved another opportunity to be great. And then you had to Battle Royale it, Darren.
But you can't just do the same thing. You can't do the same thing. You got to do something new and old at the same time. So we're going to have new PlayStation All-Stars, but old Battle Royale. So you wanted Pie in the Sky. I gave you Pie in the Sky. That's no, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
You gave me Pain in the Sky. You started off so well, Darren.
It's like you brought out a pie for us, but then when we go to cut into it, it's just whipped cream. There's nothing else underneath.
And it's like the disappointing, like, no-name brand whipped cream. It's not even Cool Whip.
No.
It's slightly warm, too. Darren, why?
I'm sorry. I'm just telling the truth. Don't shoot the messenger, all right? I'm just letting you know what's going to happen.
Damn it.
Oh,
well,
man.
Kyle, after that utter disappointment, what's your one outlandish ADP?
Are we gonna do like some honorable mentions afterwards?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So last Summer Game Fest, there was this big, massive reveal that Jeff Keighley was hyping up. He was like, "You don't want to miss this. The future video games are going to be shown off," and that was the Unreal Engine 5 demo.
Yes.
And there's no way that is not a real game. And because Sony is partnering with Epic and investing in money, that Unreal 5 engine demo is a real game, and it's a Ubisoft-developed exclusive for PlayStation 5, Princess of Persia.
Oh
Give it to me now.
I would actually like that. I would actually be very happy about this. I have no complaints. I actually, because the demo looked cool. I was like, you just kept changing it as you were going. I didn't know where you were going to end.
Talk about a twist ending. My God.
Yeah.
Both of you have so far smacked me with something that I just did not expect right at the end there. I like it though.
I could see it happening too. Like I actually see this happening.
Because like PlayStation in that same article, like 25 new IP, whatever, and seeing PlayStation go out to Square Enix and get so many like console exclusives from them, and they're not first party. I think they go to Ubisoft. It's like, hey, what can we get for our console as an exclusive? And like, what better way than to bring back the Persia game series in a new way for a new generation to make it Princess of Persia? and get far away from that remake that does not look that great, but I'm still going to play it anyway.
That remake does not look good.
I was going to say, that would actually be a perfect way for them to make up for that, too, because everyone's so mad about that remake. It's like, here's a new Prince of Persia, but it's Princess of Persia because we're evolving. So, like,
yes.
I'm happy.
God, I can only imagine the amount of people who would have YouTube videos breaking their PS5 from making their Prince of Persia woke and female.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. There would be so much backlash, but I think that would actually be pretty cool. I think that game would actually be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Right, Matt, the floor is yours.
Yeah, bring it home.
So, there have been some reports, some articles, some things going on of the Crash voice actors working on something. We don't know what that is, with Toys for Bob, moving on to becoming a Call of Duty studio and other things. We know they're working on something. So what I want to do is I want to paint you a picture, okay? I want you to imagine a trailer beginning, okay? I want you to imagine, we see lush scenery. We see a Wumpa fruit kind of drop into frame. We see Crash's shoes walk in. We see him pick him up, okay? And then he starts to kind of dribble it a little bit, run around, okay? Then we get a hard cut. We're in another beautiful fantasy land, right? We see purple feet run across. We see some fire. Right? Obviously alluding to Spyro. Okay? Then we get a fade out. We get a fade in on a stadium. Okay? We hear the coins from Mario. We see the rings from Sonic. And then we see all four of them lined up to do a sprint around the track, because what we're getting is Mario versus Sonic versus Crash versus Spyro at the Tokyo 2021 Olympic Games.
Oh no!
You son of a bitch.
Oh no! I was so with you. I was like, okay. Before you said Stadium and Mario, I was like, all right, we're going to see a precursor orb and see a little marsupial's tail, and it's going to be Jack and Daxter. And we're going to get the trio platforming PlayStation icons. Nope. An Olympic Games.
We're getting an Olympic Games.
I hate it.
People will be mad because Jack and Daxter will not be included for whatever reason.
Oh, man.
But, like, Nathan Drake will be there. We'll have some Princess Peach. We'll have all those characters together in what is like a huge crossover event to celebrate the Tokyo Olympics, which were supposed to be last year, are currently this year, apparently still happening. And whenever those Olympics roll around, we get a new Mario vs. Sonic. I think Sony wants a piece of that pie, that whipped cream, warm whipped cream filled pie, and they'll throw in Crash and Spyro. We'll work the things out with Activision. And we'll get Mario versus Sonic versus Crash versus Spyro at the Olympic Games, and that will be the full name.
I can't wait to do the triple jump with Spyro.
Right? Right? Exactly. They'll like clip his wings. And that's my one completely outlandish, out there prediction. After Darren hurting me, I had another one I could have read with, but I had to come back swinging.
You had to hurt me back.
But yeah, Darren, very, very quickly, give us an honorable mention.
Well, my honorable mention...
Is there anything else that you had on there?
Yeah, it was like it wasn't good enough. It was like God of War Ragnarok, fall release date next year, but with a very meaty gameplay demo this summer. But I'm like, I wasn't big enough, so that's why I decided on the other one.
All right, Kyle, what about you?
I had two left. I had Resistance 4 is back, and Insomniac is developing it.
Nice.
And then Uncharted 5 is unveiled, but not made by Naughty Dog.
Nice, yeah. Ooh. There are those rumors going around of, what is it?
San Diego Studios.
San Diego, yeah. Working on it. Do you think we see Drake back in the role, or do we see his daughter, or do you think we see...
I think it's his daughter, and then Drake as the Sully kind of character to
nice.
his daughter.
That makes sense.
For my honorable mention, I had a PS2 Mini. We already had that PlayStation Classic. I could see them, but that wasn't that well received. I can see them doing the PS2 Mini, them being just as impossible to get as the PS5, but adding in a bit of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for all your predictions, because I feel like we got some good ones down, and I'm very curious to score this over the next couple months. And Kyle, I hope you'll come back on the show once we have our results to have another conversation about how we all scored out. But let's quickly jump over to some news before we wrap the show. My first news piece is coming from IGN. This is written by Adam Bankhurst. Twitch to add 350 plus new tags for gender, sexual orientation, race, ability, and more. Adam writes, Twitch has announced that it is adding more than 350 new tags related to gender, sexual orientation, race, nationality, ability, mental health, and more. As detailed in a new blog from Twitch, these additions will arrive next week and will include such tags as transgender, black, disabled, veteran, VTuber, and very many more. Furthermore, Twitch will be removing references to ally from the LGBTQIA+ tag and will instead create a standalone ally tag. Now, Darren, we've talked about this before. We've talked about how Twitch and its toxicity and how it hasn't always handled things properly, along with a very, very long campaign from the transgender community to have a trans tag on. What do you think about Twitch finally, seemingly listening?
I'm very, very happy about it because that they are going to get backlash from it. They're going to get backlash for it from a specific segment of the gaming community that I don't want to be a part of. I'm happy that Twitch is just going to stick to its guns and do this because it's been a long time coming. People want tags to represent themselves. It's just a no-brainer. So I'm super, super happy that it's coming.
Kyle, what I wanted to ask you is, this is obviously, I think, great news, and I think it's going to help people find more of a community for people who might not feel like they have one. But I think that there's a very real danger here with like what we saw what happened with PogChamp, when there was a lot of racism and a lot of shitty things happened. What do you think Twitch is going to do to kind of help embolden their creators to use these tags against people who treat them like shit? Like, what do you think they should do, or what do you think they will do?
Yeah, I think that is the tough question, because I agree. I'm so happy this is a thing, and let people see themselves on the screen watching people that are within their same communities. But I really hope Twitch has a plan to back them up and protect those streamers from people just popping into chat and saying the most heinous things possible. Because you can make these categories and these tags for these streamers and for their communities. But if you're not going to back them up and help block out all that negativity and give the streamers and their mods the tools to kick them out and like forever kick them out, and they don't just make a new username and pop back in kind of thing, it's going to be like, it's all for nothing. Because I hateful people will go to insane amount of length to spew hatred, and I think Twitch needs to know that, and I hope that they have a plan to back them up. I don't know the correct answer from my point of view, because like I ban IP addresses, but I don't know how difficult that is. But that is like at the base level, that'd be the best thing possible. But,
I'd agree. I hope they have some plan in place, because like we said, after PogChamp, there's a lot of shitty things happening to well-intentioned people. So I hope they have a plan. But keep it locked. Just know that Twitch is adding those tags. We'll have more news for you as it happens. Our next piece of news is coming from Eurogamer, written by Matt Wales. Team Ninja reportedly working on Neo-like Final Fantasy spin-off for PS5 and PC, the official reveal rumored for June. Square Enix is reportedly collaborating with Neo developer Team Ninja on an action-focused Final Fantasy spin-off for PS5 and PC titled Final Fantasy Origin. It is supposed to slot into the action subgenre occupied by the likes of Team Ninja's own Neo games and From Software's Soul series, albeit with a more accessible focus to appeal to a wider audience. Kyle, does a Souls-like Final Fantasy game do anything for you?
I'm not good at Souls games at all, but I love Final Fantasy. So I will 100% check this out. If it's more of like the FF7 remake style of gameplay, but just relying heavily on taking your time and being patient with it like any other Souls game, I think that would be really, really cool. So I'm definitely interested, and Team Ninja makes great stuff, so it should be a good game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that if we see something akin to, Jedi Fallen Order, which was a
Yeah,
Souls-like, but was quite accessible, I'd
hmm
hope that's the kind of, area that we take with it.
that's a great
Darren, you
point.
are a massive Souls fan.
Mhm.
Like I mentioned myself, I get my ass kicked by those games constantly. But how do you feel? Like, what is the appropriate way to make a Final Fantasy Souls-like without making it feel too hard or too cheap?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I would buy this game in a goddamn heartbeat. Like that's hilarious. You say Final Fantasy and Souls like, and you put them together. I'm sold immediately. I'm about to look at it. I think, but as someone who's a huge fan of the Souls games, I played every single one, gotten the platinum trophy on some of them. I think that going the Jedi Fallen Order route is the best way to do it. I don't think it would be right for a Final Fantasy game to just be so crushingly difficult that it becomes inaccessible. Because the whole point is that
Mhm.
like a lot of fans of the Final Fantasy, series are not the same people that are necessarily going to be into Souls games. I don't want to say it's
hmm
impossible, but I think those communities are separate enough that you would want at least difficulty options or something to make sure that they're
Mhm.
accessible. I think that the key should still be on the storytelling and the experience of going through, going through the narrative. Otherwise, it's not really a Final Fantasy game at that point.
Good point. I think you're spot on, and we'll see more from this game. Rumors in June around Square Enix E3. I hope it's real. It has some huge backing now, so I think this game would be really cool, and I hope it exists. Our last piece of news, also coming from Eurogamer, from Tom Phillips. Zelda Skyward Sword's Loftwing Amiibo lets you skip a frustrating piece of game design. I'm going to be reading here. Nintendo has revealed a Zelda and Loftwing Amiibo figurine, which launches along its Skyward Sword HD remaster on July 16th. Tapping the Amiibo to your Switch lets you zip between the game's airborne overworld and Hyrule surface wherever you are, a handy feature not available in the original game. So we already have an episode of Hey Did You Hear, which is our new show up on YouTube. Darren gives us a good breakdown of this, but I wanted to talk about this because I think it's so friggin' Nintendo to do something like this and them catch not enough flack for it. I think from an accessibility standpoint, this is gross, leaving quality of life options behind a paywall. One that, especially with Amiibo are not always very accessible when they first come out. I just think it's a really, really gross way to do it. Kyle, what are your feelings on the Loftwing Amiibo?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like locking things that make the game easier to play behind another purchase that's not easy to come by, and not
Yeah.
everyone can get access to it. I think that's really, really crappy. As far as like the Zelda games, I don't play Zelda. I've never played a Zelda completely, so
What?
that's one of my big shames. It's one of my big shames. I played 30 minutes of Breath of the Wild and I got bored and I stopped. I'll go back eventually, but yeah, I think the main point here is what you're saying is having that quality of life thing locked behind another plastic figurine to unlock it. Like that, I don't like that move at all. That baffles me that someone okayed that.
Yeah, I agree. And Darren, what I want to ask you, because I know you, like I said, go check out the YouTube video if you're curious about Darren's full thoughts. But Darren, what I want to ask you very quickly before we wrap is, why does Nintendo get away with shit like this when if something was like EA or Ubisoft, people would be burning the places to the ground? Nintendo seems to have some, people being like, what the hell? And then it's very quickly forgotten about. Why does Nintendo get a pass every time it makes a very anti-consumer friendly decision?
I think the reason, and this is going to be kind of a weird way to bring it up, and I'm sorry because I know a lot of people don't want to hear this name, including myself, but it's kind of like a Donald Trump scenario where Nintendo does, and this is coming from someone who loves Nintendo. I'm a huge Nintendo guy. They do so many things that are questionable that it's hard to just focus on one because they'll just go to the next one real quick. So I think it's kind of like they're getting a pass in the sense that like it's not going to be long before they do it again. Everybody just consigns it to, well, it's just Nintendo. So what else are you expecting? Like they've just kind of
Mm-hmm.
worn everyone down, I think, with their toy company mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that makes me upset. I really hope that we see more from this Zelda game because we haven't seen enough of it, let alone justifying a full price tag. Of course,
Yeah.
Nintendo's going to do what Nintendo's going to do. And again, I love Nintendo. But again, I think you're spot on with them doing this kind of crap so often that it all kind of melts together and you don't even know what to be mad at anymore. But that brings us to the end of the show. Kyle, thank you again so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure having you, and I hope you come back again soon. One more time, can you please plug all your stuff so people know where to check out your content?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. Had a great time getting hype about E3 predictions for PlayStation. You can follow me on Twitter at MrKStep. The Trophy Room you can listen to on any podcast service of your choice. You can follow us over on Twitter at PS Trophy Room for that, as well as 61Indie on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, all those fun things, and 61indie.com for written previews, reviews, and hype checks for upcoming indie games.
Nice. And something I should have mentioned at the top of the show is you guys are currently doing like a 5-star rating push on Apple, right?
For the Trophy Room. Yes.
Exactly, yes. So please tell us about that.
Yeah, if you drop us a 5-star review, no matter where you are, you'll be entered to win a copy of Ratchet & Clank: A Rift Apart. We'll pick a random 5-star review from everybody that left one. If you've already left us a review, you're still included, and we'll get you the next PS5 exclusive hotness for you on us.
Yeah, so please go check out the Trophy Room on Apple Podcasts. Leave a very, very sweet 5-star review. Kyle, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you again. I'm stoked to have you back in the future. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. We've had a blast talking to you. You can find us over at Burnout Brighter on YouTube. You can find us on any podcast network of your choosing. Find our new show, Hey Did You Hear, which is all about news, over on YouTube. And also, I have recently just joined a new PlayStation podcast called The PlayStation Drive. I should have mentioned this at the top as well.
What?
But I'm now part of the Yumi and Capri lineup, joining Ryan Turford, doing a PlayStation podcast called The PlayStation Drive. Our pilot just went up last Friday. You can catch that on Patreon at patreon.com/Yumi Capri, where that is locked behind a Patreon wall right now. But as we do more and more stuff, if people like it, if you want to submit questions, if you want to hear more from me, please go find the Discord. I'll link it in the show notes as well. So if you want to ask questions, you can find more there as well. Darren, were you waggling your finger for a reason?
No, yes. I was wagging my finger because I'm so excited for you, Matt. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super stoked about it. So please go check that out. Check out the Trophy Room. Check out 61Indie. We'll be back next week. Thank you guys so much for listening. Peace and love always. Peace out.
Later.
I feel so buffed up and powerful.
You should, man.
I'm extremely jealous.
Yeah, Darren, maybe one day I'll give you an intro like that.